Hello, I'm joined today by Joe Godoyne from Spectre. How you doing, Joe?
Yeah, I'm great. Thank you for having me on here, David. Great to be back.
It's nice to have you with us once again. And can I just say, we're coming up to Dragon Boat Racing season again. And if anyone's
Yeah.
looking for an extremely good cox, I think that's the name that they give the guys that sit at the front of the boat and shout at all the guys doing the hard work. Look no further than Joe. He did a
That's
very good
me.
job last year. Joe, thanks for joining us. We're here today to talk about a market report that's just been launched by Spectre.
Yeah.
Big fan of market reports in general. I think they're hugely useful for agents, especially they need to seem knowledgeable about the market, but they're great for marketing in general and actually sort of using them as prospecting tools. But we'll talk about that later. What's new? What makes this market report different?
Yeah, so this is a brand new report which is on the quarterly housing market activities. So this is going to give details on new listings, on withdrawals, reductions, sales agreed, time on market, all those kinds of insights. It even gives a top 20 agency leaderboard on there. It gives agents a thorough understanding of the current market conditions, with expert opinions on why these conditions are happening around us. There's been, I think, recently, fairly recently, there's been a lot of scaremongering about the estate agency industry itself, and this market report really sheds light on if any of that scaremongering is true, and also how agents can adapt their approach to their business, with using the insights that are within this marketing.
I think that's really true because if you turn on the TV these days and you look at sort of an economic update or people talking about the property market, it is very varied, the different opinions, and they tend to be very sensationalist headlines that we get. But what we know on the front line of a state agency is most of us are sort of trying to get down to business as normal.
Yeah.
People still need to move. And so your market reports or market reports in general, where you've got decent, reliable information that is based on facts, it can't be disputed
Yeah,
on the way
exactly.
forward.
Yeah, I mean, we're tracking data that we see day in, day out. And within this market report as well, we're not just comparing it to last year's, we're comparing it to pre-pandemic, mid-pandemic, post-pandemic. So we're giving you a 5-year average as well comparison, because there's a few years you have to kind of discount as very odd years for the industry that have gone on in the last 5 years.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. It's a complete anomaly, really. We just need to sort of get used to doing business in an environment where we may need to work harder, but we need to reassure the public, I think, a little bit more as well. So I know that some people have already started to sort of get their hands on this product and have been using it. So what's the initial response been?
Yeah, so we released this market report today, but prior to that, this report's been in the hands of some of the country's top estate agents, who have had eyes on it, and they've actually expressed how kind of useful and insightful the market report's actually been. Not only to give them a greater understanding of what's going on around them, but how they can use it to tailor their own marketing, prospecting approach to new business.
So we've touched on the fact that obviously we're operating in a different market, or there's that kind of sense that this year is a very different year for us, and we're still trying to find our way along it. But you've got some interesting sort of insights into general stats in regarding the market. And when you look at the Q1 of 2023, what I was amazed was that you've reported on the number of reductions as being sort of 36% higher than the Q1 5-year average, which that makes a lot of sense to me. Reading it like that, initially you think, wow, that's pretty high. But actually, when you look at how asking prices are set and the fact that the market is perhaps a little bit more challenging than it was, it's no surprise really reading that
Yeah.
agents have been forced to sort of react to that and reprice things.
Yeah, it's a really interesting stat. 36% higher is, it's a huge number, that increase in price reductions. And really it comes from or it stems from last year's kind of property boom. You know, we went through a long period last year of houses being so in demand, they would come on the market and they would sell almost instantly. And that drove higher than ever asking prices last year. And entering into this quarter of the new year, you've got consumers kind of almost expecting the same level of house prices, and agents either having to kind of appease that to win the business, and ultimately having to significantly reduce multiple times to actually sell this year as well. So this market report really gives agents insights into how they can value appropriately, backed by real data, real evidence as to what's happening this year and the difference between last year.
It's really helpful tool in that sort of re-education process with those clients that you have to go and see, because that, you know, you cannot now set a price based on what was happening, say, sort of 12 months ago. You really need to sort of have a look at it as a snapshot like that. So that's really useful. How can agents get their hands on this report? And you know, you mentioned you're releasing it today. So what do they need to do to get in line?
Yeah, so this report is completely free. Agents can go and download it now straight from Spectre's website, www.spectre.uk.com. And they can get hands-on PDF version, which can be printed out or kept digitally on their computers.
And this is going to be a regular report produced by Spectre. Are we likely then to see sort of one every quarter?
Yes, absolutely. So this is going to be a quarterly report starting this quarter, every quarter, hopefully for the foreseeable.
Fantastic. So in terms of looking forward, I know that you're not only going off the data that you've got, but you're also making some predictions about what's about to happen, so that you're arming agents with some really great talking points, I suppose, for valuations and also for market updates that they may be doing. So just explain to us the sort of things that you're able to predict.
Yeah, so I think that's one of the differences that really kind of sets this report aside, is that we wanted not to just look back on what happened in the past quarter, but we wanted to give expert predictions on what might happen in the following quarter. So, for example, looking at how many new instructions to market we're predicting, how we're looking at what the price increases or price reductions, sorry, if they're going to be increasing or decreasing next quarter, withdrawals and fall through rates and all those kinds of aspects. We can kind of use our data to predict what next quarter is going to look like, to give agents a better insight in terms of, again, how they can approach or attack their operations.
And if you're going to leave us with some value today, if you got some hot prospecting tips for agents this quarter, is there anything that you know that's really sort of working for agents at the moment?
Can't divulge anything in particular right now.
Come on, I got dressed for this and everything.
I know. The reason why we can't is because we're going to be hosting a whole webinar on this particular marketing report and how you can best utilize it as an agent on Wednesday, the 26th of April.
There you go. You heard it from Joe first. Get in line, register for that. I think we've got a link for that, so we'll be making that available to everybody, and that's free for everybody to join and
absolutely
firsthand.
Yeah.
There you go. To find out the latest tips on prospecting, April the 26th. Joe, thank you very much for your time today.
No problem. Thanks very much for having me.
Thank you.